Hey there. Welcome back. Today, friends, I'm feeling a little tender-hearted, I guess might be the word to describe it. And so I really just felt like sitting down with you and just having a little chat about things. And I did just finish recording a video, which I still have some props here on my desk for, that I probably will have already posted by the time you see this, where I was doing my dishes with you as my dishes. Honestly, I haven't looked at that video yet. I just finished recording it, so I have no idea how it came out. I mean, it's obviously going to be weird. That's the whole point of it, was to be weird. And just do something kind of funny and out there. So I hope that you like it. It was funny, Justin and I were talking, and I said, yeah, I'm gonna do a dishes one. That'll be fun, just a little short video. And then after the video that he and I did the other day, where he was showing the Sasquatch piece of art that his uncle made, and at the end Justin was kind of going like or making a little Sasquatch sound, and several of you commented that you liked that voice. And so Justin and I were like, oh my gosh, should we do Sasquatches Comfort You? I mean, Justin and I aren't going to try to do full Sasquatch costumes. We are not cosplayers, as I have, said before. Costumes are not our strong suit. But, what if we, did a video where it was the two of us, and instead of actually talking to you, we were just like, no. I mean, I have to work on my Sasquatch voice. I think Justin's was better. But if we just did some, unintelligible, actually, that's not a good Sasquatch voice at all. I would have to work on it. But you get the idea of some kind of personal attention to you from a creature that you can't understand. So I don't know. See, starting this off on a weird note, but it already makes me feel better to sit down and talk to you all. So I'm okay. I don't want to raise any alarm bells for you all or anything. But I've just been having a little bit of an emotionally raw time lately. And it's really interesting because I think that summer, emotionalness or summer depression and anxiety is a real thing. And we don't talk about that as much. We talk about the winter and when we're not getting enough light and seasonal affective disorder. But I really think there is an opposite to that. I think there's an opposite seasonal disorder, seasonal challenge that we're up against in this peak of the summertime. And I mean, for everybody who's been going through the heat waves, you know how that can be very relentless, that can be very oppressive, and the same as kind of in winter, where you can't get out and do things like you might want to because of snow or unsafe conditions. In the summer, sometimes we can't get outside because of the intense heat or because of other things like the wildfire smoke that many of us have been experiencing. And I know for me, those days that we were stuck inside and the sky was just orange and very creepy looking, was not an easy thing to manage. So Justin and I did okay on those days. We focused on projects in the house. We rearranged a bunch of our furniture and switched around some things in different rooms and set up an area in our loft area at the top of the stairs to be, it's kind of it's not really a room, it's just kind of a little landing area, and we are making that into a music area. and Justin has his bass there, his electric bass and his upright bass and his other instruments, and he got a keyboard set up that had belonged to his uncle. Justin inherited it from him when he passed away, and we hadn't really had a place to set that up, so we have the keyboard set up. And then we were visiting friends last weekend, 2 weekends ago, and they're wonderful people we visited them on their homestead. We have two different sets of friends who are both doing like the homesteading thing, one in upstate New York and one in North Carolina, and we visited them both on their homesteads, which is so fun, and get to hang out with their goats and their chickens. And I think this is the kind of lifestyle that a lot of people are trying to pursue these days. I don't know. I've been doing a lot with my little sponges lately, so maybe I shouldn't overdo them. I didn't really bring any other props. I have this sitting here so I could tap on this. It's got some fuzz on it. Oh, I gotta get rid of this fuzz. Okay. This actually will probably make a great sound. This is a kind of like a makeup bag or a pouch. When the last time I was at my parents', my mom was cleaning out the closet in her bathroom, and she found this, and it had come with some makeup, I guess, or something that she had gotten a long time ago, and she hadn't really used the case, and so I took it because, you know me, I love a good case sound. I love a good pouch. And I just recently I'm putting all of my hair stuff in this because my, hair ties and headbands and stuff are just everywhere all over the house, and so I am starting to collect them in this pouch, and then I'll be able to find them. So you can see there's only a few in there now, but I thought it was cool since this has the clear panel on the front, that it would just be a good thing to do with that. But okay, I'm all over the place. This really is a true random ramble. When we visited our friends, they are wonderful people, and they are both musicians and have a lot of musical stuff in their house, and they ended up sending us home with an electric mandolin. Very cool. And some of you might know, I think I've shared on here that I, a couple of years ago, got a mandolin, an acoustic mandolin, a very inexpensive one, and was fiddling around with trying to learn to play the mandolin because I've never played a stringed instrument in my life. I played clarinet in band in high school and middle school, and I've never played a stringed instrument, and I've always been kind of fascinated with them. And guitars, I can never really get myself around a guitar. I don't know, I have small arms and small hands, and so I felt like a mando would be, a cool thing to learn. And I have, I grew up with bluegrass music, and I love the sound of a mandolin, and I just thought it would be fun to learn to play. So I can play the mando a little tiny bit, and then it just kind of went to the wayside because of other things in life. And so this has really inspired me because now I have my acoustic mandolin, and then I have an electric one that I can plug into one of Justin's amps and rock out on it. So that was pretty cool. We actually took our friends a telescope that we had that we just weren't using, and they live out in a place with big open skies, and they're really into that kind of stuff, especially our one friend. And so he was really thrilled with the telescope, so we kind of did this trade. We gave them the telescope and we said, we just want you to have it because we want it to be used. And they were like, oh, well, we really, we want to pay you for it. So we ended up kind of doing this swap that they were like, okay, well, here, if you won't take any money, take this electric mandolin that I was going to sell anyway. So that is inspiring me that I should do a video and show you the mandolin, and Justin and I should do an instrument tour video. So many ideas for videos that I would like to do, just me and Justin, and sometimes the challenge really is me having the energy and the stamina and being in the right mindset to do it, because I don't want to sit down here with you. I feel like touching the mic just a tiny bit. This is going to be a really random video. I always want to be in the right mood, in the right headspace when I sit down here with you, And, that doesn't mean that I have to be in a perfect, I have to be perfectly balanced and all of that. I like to be real when I come to you. But I have to be in the zone to sit down and do this. And yesterday I had planned that I wanted to record. I had some free time yesterday and I wanted to record, and it was a rainy day, and I was like, oh, this will be great. This will be a great day for recording, and I can get some rain sounds in the background and stuff. And then yesterday morning, when I woke up, I was just having a really, really tough time. Maybe I don't have to do any other triggers during this part. Maybe I'll just talk. I just had a really rough day yesterday. That when I got up kind of early, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get, a good start on the day. And I just was not in a good headspace. I was really, really sad. I had all this sadness coming up in me, and it wasn't for any particular reason. Like sometimes, I can pinpoint and say, okay, this is what I'm upset about, or this is what I've been thinking about, or this memory is coming up for me or something. But it wasn't really anything specific. I just had all this emotion coming up, and I really felt like I needed to cry. And the thing with me and crying is that when I cry, I'm quite a robust crier if I really let it out. And then pretty much always after I cry, I get really, really puffy eyes. Like my eyelids get really, really puffy and swelled up. And I have that for like another day. And my whole life I've called that having a cry over. Like when I cry, I have this, physical effect. And, it can be pretty intense looking. And so when I'm in that puffy-faced cry-over mode, that's not a time that I want to be sitting down and recording with you, because I don't want any of you all to be, worried about me or having to look at my weird poofy eyes or, anything like that. So it's always this thing that if I feel like I'm getting emotional, I'm always like, no, I can't cry right now, because if I want to record later, or if I want to, do a call with somebody, if I'm doing something kind of professional and I don't want to look like I've been upset, then I need to not cry. And so I've spent a lot of time in my life. Maybe this is what this is ending up being. Maybe this is kind of like a little chat and talk about crying, because crying is has always been a huge thing for me in my life. I am a crier. I cry when I am happy. I cry when I'm sad. I cry at sappy songs and, things on TV, and just I'm an emotional person, and I respond to things by crying. And I have always through my life at varying levels felt shame about crying, because when you're young, people are always like, when you're a kid, I had people in my life who were very compassionate when I was upset, but people are always, they want to cheer you up and make you feel better. And you learn from a pretty early age that nobody really wants to see someone else be upset, that when you're upset, that is probably going to cause somebody else discomfort. And so I think I learned at a pretty young age, like, oh, I should try not to show people that I'm upset, because I don't want them to be upset, and I don't want to hurt someone else or make it any worse. And so I've spent a lot of my life trying to hold in my emotions, and usually that would only work for me for a certain amount of time, and then I would have some kind of a big breakdown of tears, and I would let the emotion and the stress build up until it got really extreme, and then I would have a big emotional release, which always felt needed, but then sometimes in a way was kind of worse, because then I would be in really bad shape for a couple days after getting really upset. And that kind of all really came to a head during my professional life, because I, had a mantra of like, I'm not going to let people see me cry, in my workplace, I'm not going to do that. And I, had varying amounts of success with that I usually, like I said, could hold things in for a time, but there were definitely times when I got emotional at work. And again, I've always had really compassionate coworkers and bosses. I've never had anyone like yell at me for getting upset or be like, get yourself together. What's wrong with you? Like, I've never had anybody say that to me, like in a workplace, but I would just say it to myself. And, I think that's one of the things that ended up leading to me leaving my high stress career, was that I just couldn't hold all that in anymore. And I knew that it was hurting me. I knew it was making me physically sick, and it was, really bad for my mental health and just was not good for me. And so since I now have more freedom in my life, that I'm not, going to a 9-to-5 job that I have to be in a certain mindset for, I have been a lot more open with myself, with letting myself show my emotions and everything, and letting myself express what I want to express. But still, sometimes it just feels inconvenient. Sometimes it's like, couldn't I just like have a day where I just can go about things as normal and not feel so emotional? That's something that, my pain body and my voices try to say to me a lot is, well, like, why can't you just be a normal person? Everyone else goes about their days and does what they need to do and doesn't, start crying every 5 seconds. And so that's something I've just really had to work on with myself, is self-compassion, is that compassion for like, Devan, this is just who you are. And sometimes you're going to have a day where you have to change your plans and you can't. I'm going to do a little havening right now because it's very comforting to me. I think I've taught you all about this before, but excuse me, havening. I think I just did that. Havening is when you rub your hands together, or rub your hands down your arms, or touch your face, and it creates, I think it's beta waves is what they're called, beta waves in the brain that signal your brain that it's safe, that your nervous system is safe, and it can help you when you're feeling panicky or emotional. So I'm just going to do that for myself right now. And the particular flavor of my inner critic and inner voices always likes to say, oh, well, this could have been so great, or this would have been perfect if you had just done this way, but you didn't, and so now you ruined it. That's my inner critic's favorite thing to say, is you ruined it. You ruined the day. This is a wasted day, or you ruined things, or whatever. And so yesterday, I just had to say to myself, Devan, you just got to take care of yourself today. So I let myself cry. I let myself have a big old cry, a big old ugly emotional cry. And I wrote in my journal, and Justin sat with me for a while I was crying, and he was very sweet, and he brought me a crystal to hold, and that was helpful. And I actually did some work with the crystal and just with my hands on my solar plexus, because I definitely hold a lot of tension in my solar plexus area. Justin and I both, we call it our aliens, like from some kind of sci-fi movie. We both feel like we have this like clenched, I think there's a bundle of nerves there, but a literal bundle of nerves, but I feel like this clenchiness in my solar plexus area, and sometimes like massaging that, or even kind of like gently probing it with my fingers, or like with a crystal or something like that, like with one of these crystals we have that has kind of like a pointy end. This is the moonstone. If I kind of literally like sort of do a gentle Heimlich maneuver on myself. It's higher up, I guess, than you would do the Heimlich maneuver. And years ago, I saw a video, I think it was Lavender, I think she still has a channel, a lifestyle channel, and she's a great creator, and she had a video where she and her boyfriend went to some healing place, and they had them take these like, kind of like, they were almost like sticks with handles on the end, and kind of like gently ram them into their belly buttons and like that area of the body, and that was supposed to release a bunch of tension, and it definitely does that. I think I've talked in another video about how I went to a yoga class once where we did a lot of work with pressing like stress balls and stuff into that area of the body, and everybody in the class was crying and like having these huge emotional releases from their solar plexuses. Okay, well, I have this crystal now, so I will tap on it. Completely lost my train of thought there. I went from the havening, and I think I'm gonna have to pause and blow my nose for a second. So I'll be back. Okay, that feels better now. So yesterday, I think that's what I was saying, I just was really kind to myself, and I, made sure that I ate something in this hot weather. I just don't feel like eating, which is kind of, which is a bummer. My appetite is not very strong when it's hot, but I know I need to eat regularly to keep my blood sugar even and my nervous system even. I have been eating a lot of blueberries, so that's great because the blueberries are in season, and we have a little stand right around the corner that where we get blueberries, and so I've been eating a lot of them, so that's been good. And yesterday, then I let myself take a nap in the afternoon, and I didn't force myself to record. I knew I was gonna kind of have a headache from crying and stuff, and that's just part of how it goes. So I just said, okay, you can try recording again tomorrow, which is what I'm doing right now. And this isn't what I would have been talking about if I had recorded yesterday. So I always try to trust and believe that whenever I end up recording, whatever it is I end up saying to you is something that somebody needs to hear. So I hope that's the case today, even though I feel a little bit all over the place and a little bit emotional. But yesterday, I tried not to let myself listen to those voices that were getting down on me. And then this morning when I woke up, it's a little bit hotter today. It's a little bit more humid. And so my voices were like, oh, well, Devan, if you had just gotten your act together yesterday and hadn't been such an emotional wreck yesterday, then you could have recorded yesterday when it was cool and it was nice, and it would have been such a nice setting with the rain, and on and on and on. And I just had to be like, voices, please shut up. I'm not going to let you drive today. I know that you're there. You're trying to take care of me. Most of our inner voices are just scared and trying to protect us. But I do not need you right now, so leave me alone. Get out of town. Like the video I did sometimes with the inner critic, you gotta punch, punch, punch. And so I gave my inner critic a little punch, punch, punch and got rid of it. And today I'm just going through the day as best I can. And the other thing I brought to show you, this is so random, this video is so random. The other thing I did yesterday was, by the time we got to the end of the day, I was feeling a little bit better, and I had wanted to go to the library because I had a book to pick up, and also because the library was doing this craft, like a craft night for all ages, and they were making fairy jars, and I really wanted to make one. So Justin and I went, and here's my fairy jar. And okay, I, was still a little out of it last night. I was tired and I wasn't feeling the best. So this may not be, I don't know, as neat and nice as it could have been. But isn't it fun? So it's a plastic mason jar that they had, and then they had these little cutouts of fairies that you could put down inside and put Mod Podge on one side and kind of adhere it to the inside, and then put goodies inside, like there's little faux moss and plants and flowers in there. And then we brush the whole outside of it with Mod Podge, and then put glitter all over it, and then put a little string of lights in it. And I think if I had it to do over, I would mix, hopefully it's looking sparkly for you, I think I would have mixed the glue and the Mod Podge together and painted the whole outside with it like that, instead of trying to sprinkle the glitter over top, because I think it would have been more even. But this is fun. I think I keep hitting the microphone. And on top here, you can see I glued a little, can you see that? I glued a little, hot glued a little frog and a mushroom and a flower on top. And it's just a little, battery operated, I can do the lid sound here, little battery operated lights that we hot glued to the inside of the lid. So, a little bit like, I feel like it's a little funky, and, why am I wanting to say, like, not my most professional work, but it's a craft. Like, what the heck? It was like kids' craft hour at the library. It doesn't need to be professional. But I really like it, and it was fun, and I was glad that I went, because I did have puffy eyes and kind of, looked like I had been upset. You could have probably told that. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out into the world anyway. Let's normalize someone having puffy eyes from crying. Let's normalize that being emotional is okay. And, so I went to the library, and I did see one of my friends there who works at the library, and, I shared with her that I had had a tough day, and that I was glad I was able to be there, and she was very kind, and Justin and I sat at a random table with some other people and met some nice new people, and there were a lot of kids there, and they were doing such cool, fun things with these. They were like gluing flowers all over the outside, and like one little girl had like 10 of these frogs on her lid. Like, she was just going wild. And it was really fun. It was fun. It was a fun little setting, and I'm probably getting glitter on my hands by doing this, but that's okay. Glitter is fine. More glitter in your life is good. And so I was proud of myself that I went out into the world and did something fun for myself, and now we have this sitting up. It looks particularly good at night, when it's dark and the light shows through more. I have this up on the shelf in our living room, and it's fun, and so I wanted to show it to you. And my friend at the library was like, "Ooh, are you going to put this in one of your ASMR videos?" And, "Ooh, I'm seeing the reflection just a little bit in the camera lens, and it is looking very, very glittery, I think, for you with the light over here shining on it." So, cool. So, I'm giving you a little dose of glitter, a little dose of glittery love, a little dose of glittery magic in your life today. And so, I guess I'm sitting here right now with you, and what I want to say to you is that if you are having a rough time this summer, please know that that is okay. I actually read an essay on Substack recently, which I will link to, because that author is someone who I connected with because of this channel, and so I will link to their essay. But they were talking about how summer is really hard for them, and like the heat's really hard on them, and they feel like that everyone else is so happy and great and active in the summer, and that they really need to pull back and take care of themselves, because the summer weather they have more issues with anxiety and stress and depression in the summer. And I just thought that was really interesting to read, because that is true, and it that can be true for people. And for me, being at this now, stage in my life that I'm in, good old perimenopause, I do have to take care of myself in the heat. And I'm sorry if this is, too much information for people, but I am always like to be honest on this channel. Like, my hormones are kind of, and I think that's part of what it was yesterday. Is I think hormonally I was having this spike of just a bunch of old emotions and stuff coming up and needing to be released. And that's such a good thing. It's such a good thing to release emotions. But I think that's just another one of those societal norms and expectations of like, oh yay, summer vacation is great, everybody have fun, everybody pack in lots of great activities, but also be super relaxed and lay in a hammock and read a book and lay on the beach and be super, super chill, yet have 100 different adventures in the summer, and like all these expectations where it's like totally relax, but also be really active. And like, it's one of those things where, if you're looking at social media and societal expectations, like you can't win. No matter what you would be doing, you would be missing out on something else. And of course that's, what the system wants, right? All the people who are selling things and marketing things want us to feel bad about ourselves and feel like we're not doing the things that we should be doing, so that we'll buy stuff to try to make us feel more complete. And it's just creates this feeling of scarcity or of lack, that like, oh, I'm not getting as much as I need to out of the summer, or I'm not, maximizing this. And I think I'm going to put my fairy light down. So fun, isn't it? But that's one of the things that I'm really working on with myself, is that, like, life isn't, oh, see, now I have glitter fingers. You want some glitter fingers? Life isn't just about efficiency. Life isn't just about, like, how much I can get done and what I can mark off my list and what I can say to other people that I did. And sometimes I'm like, are you still in that place, Devan? Are you still in that place where you are evaluating your worth based on your productivity? Even if it's not a job productivity anymore, it's some other kind of productivity. It's creative productivity. I've been really feeling the pull to write more lately, and I've been being so hard on myself because I haven't been doing it. And I'm like, Devan, this accomplishes nothing for you to get the motivation to write and then be hard on yourself because you're not, and then get mad at yourself basically because you're not doing it. I am really trying to take the value of each of my days as it comes and have the experiences of my days and find that balance between planning out things I want to do and then also being able to respond and take care of my needs in the moment. And I do have some pretty extreme energetic ups and downs. And I realized that because we went and had this wonderful visit with our friends for a few days and were away, and then we came back and had this, weird wildfire smoke situation of having to stay inside a lot. That was kind of a lot on me too. And things pile up on me, and then sometimes I just need a day to, like, rest and just kind of bleh, like not have any expectation of myself. And that's what I allowed myself to do yesterday, and it was not easy. And I spent a lot of the day fighting my inner critic, wrestling with my pain body. That's a lot of what I do these days because I have a lot of awareness, and so I spend a lot of time working on dismantling old patterns and old habits of thought and things like that. And I just wanted to share all of that with you because I really like being transparent about this, and I, especially because, we here talk about mental health stuff a lot, and I always try to do what I can to encourage you. I just want to be really transparent that you all know that I am not some sort of, like, perfectly balanced person who has found all the answers and, is always in this, calm, peaceful Zen state. That is not me at all. I have really intense emotional times, and sometimes they're kind of scary. Sometimes it's almost like panic attack level emotion, and I have a lot of tools that I use to help myself when those things happen, but those things happen and they're real. And so I just want to create space so that you know that if you're going through really tough emotions, or if you're going through anxiety or stress or depression, I think it's just so common to think, oh my gosh, I'm so messed up. I'm the only one who's like this. Everybody else is just living their life, doing things. Everybody's getting done what they need to do. Everybody else is fine. And I'm the only one who's broken and breaking down and not able to be where I want to be. And I know that that's not true. And so if me taking this moment to say to you, like, yes, I'm a broken human who's always doing my best each day to live life, to move through things, to feel the abundance of life instead of the lack. And sometimes I do better and sometimes I do worse. I'm just a human. If me showing this vulnerability and this humanness, if that helps any of you to think, wow, oh, well, I'm not alone in what I'm feeling. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who's feeling something that seems weird. You know, that's me. I'm always like, why do I have to be so weird? Why can't I just be normal? Why can't I just, you know? And that's just all not true. That's just all a figment of, you know, it's just something that doesn't exist. There is no normal. We're all having ups and downs all the time. And even the people who seem like they have it all together, they have their own struggles, and people just show it in different ways at different levels. But we all have these things that we're working through together. And so I just want to open up my heart to you, my friend, and just thank you for listening to me and letting me have a space for this. And I just want to express to you how much I care about all of you, and that I want you to have space in your life to feel what you feel and to be okay with who you are. And I just want to send my love out to you right now. And when it comes to the whole crying thing, it's so interesting because I have a really good friend who talks to me a lot about how they wish they could cry more. And they don't. It's like they don't, like, even when they feel upset, it's like they can't access that part of their emotions. That's like shut down. And that's, you know, probably, you know, from a lot of different things, a lot of different, you know, conditioning and things about life that we're all kind of taught to hold these things in. And they always wish that they could cry more and let things out more. And so I try to think of myself, I try to think of my emotional tendencies as being a positive thing, as being something that is helping me, as something that I should, dare I say, be proud of and talk about more and express more, because being able to express things and let things out is something that, you know, not everybody can do. So for those of us who can, we're able to have that release, and that can be really healthy and really healing. So whether you're a person who's on that end of the scale where your emotions are flying out all the time and you feel like you can't control them, or if you're on the other end where your emotions are locked up really tight and you feel like you can't access them, or you're somewhere in the middle of that spectrum, which is probably where we all move back and forth on at different times and for different reasons, I just, you know, let's just all love on ourselves. Let's just all have some patience and some love and some self-forgiveness and self-kindness, and stop being so hard on ourselves and so harsh with ourselves. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping for all of us. And I don't know, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to say when I sat down here today. So I am just opening my heart up to you. And I hope that something that I have said here in this ramble has been helpful to you. Or perhaps it has just, the sound of my voice has helped you to fall into a good sleep. And that's really important too. Those things, those basic things we need, the sleep, the nourishing food, the, you know, the rest, the connection, the companionship, the being able to share with another human what we're going through is all really important. So I'm going to pick my fairy jar back up. And I'm sure when I go back to edit this, I might be like, oh, there are other things I wanted to say. But the good thing is, there'll always be time for another video. There will always be time to share more together and to be together again. So thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for hanging out with me and my fairy and this little frog. And thanks for being you. Thanks for being who you are. Thanks for being out there. Thanks for watching and listening and being part of this cool connection that we have, which certainly means a lot to me. So stay cool if it's hot where you are. Take good care of yourself. Rest well. And I will see you again soon. Take you out with some glitter sparkly here. Glitter, 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 sparkly, glitter, sparkly, glitter, sparkly, glitter, sparkly, glitter, sparkly, glitter, sparkly. I do feel better